When I was young, I became an international video gaming superstar by going back to back. Later on, I went into game design. I wanted to truly understand the process of making a game. Now, here we are. Raul! We're talking today about something new. DEADROP is going to be a game unlike anything you've ever seen. To build it, we assembled a world-class team at Midnight Society. We're here to talk exclusively about DEADROP, an original and competitive entry to the AAA space. DEADROP is the world's first vertical extraction shooter. And with only a year into development, this is simply just the beginning. It's time for some early hands-on with the game. Oh, baby. Submit, Rob, Quinn, don't be shy. Get out here.
Welcome to the event. I want to give a huge thanks to Optic Gaming for having us here, the Esports Stadium here in Arlington, Texas. But most importantly, the founders who are already in the existence today. The Midnight Society dev team that's here in the crowd, the variants and the future claws, and everyone joining us from home. It's been 1 year. 1 year to get to this point. I cannot believe how far and how quickly we came because of all the feedback that you guys have been giving us every single snapshot. Can you believe this, Sumit?
Oh man, it feels so real. I mean, I remember all of us when we got together shared the same dream to build the best FPS game ever. And then I remember when we were talking about it, it was late 2021 or so, and we were talking about the game, the ideas, and essentially the studio that we are going to build. And one of the things that keep coming back to us was how we wanted to be able to talk to our community, how we wanted to be able to share what we are doing with them, and not when the game is in alpha or a beta, but from day zero. And that's what it's all about, right, Quinn?
Day zero, that's right. Hey, so let's get into this. We talked a little bit about like, hey, what Midnight Society is, why we were formed. Let's talk about how we got to where we are and what you're gonna see today. And that starts with the team. The dev team we have assembled is world class. Not just a team that will just shy away from the unknown, but a team that is not only willing, but desirous to rewrite the book on game development. And in fact, what we want to do, we want to write books that we didn't even know need to be written about game development when we're doing this. Okay?
Yep.
So we're not just here because, you know, we're hot shots, we think we got it all figured out. This is us, okay? This is us up here fulfilling the promise that we made when we formed the studio, that we are making the game side by side with you, the players. This is us fulfilling that. So what you're all about to see today is pre-alpha, okay? Keep that in mind, pre-alpha, and we have a lot of work left to do.
This all plays into the key principles of why we founded this studio in the first place, right? We wanted you guys along for the ride, every snapshot, every feature, building it openly alongside this community, and making sure that you were involved in every design decision that we did. We talked about it before, we'll talk about it every single time, step by step, every snapshot, every feature. And that was starting with Snapshot 1. All we had was the first weapons, the player hideout, the firing range. You guys ran through it. You gave us that feedback. Snapshot 2, we introduced PvP multiplayer so that you guys could get in there, start testing out that multiplayer loop, giving us feedback on what that competitive nature felt like. Then we just kept building on it. Snapshot 3, Snapshot 4. We are now here for Snapshot 5, our 5th pre-alpha release. The moment we've all been waiting for, it is time to enter the tower. Woo!
Variants. Oh. Who's ready to dead drop?
This is it. The moment to enter that big, beautiful tower in the distance, the refiner state. Let's take a sneak peek at what we're about to drop into with Sector 3 cold storage.
I love that music. That music totally gets me going, all right? It gets me going to be up here on this stage. Now let's talk about something that we are all really excited about here at Midnight Society. And we made an announcement about this just a few weeks ago, and that is the Visor Cortex, okay? And I know a lot of you know what the Visor Cortex is, all right? Let's talk about that. So what is it? You know, as a Founders Pass holder, the Visor Cortex is your unique identity in the Midnight Society existence. And there will only ever be 10,000 of you founders, okay? So why is it important? For the first time ever, okay? First time ever, your Midnight Society identity will be in-game. That starts with Snapshot 5 here today. And with this reward comes risk of enemies coming up to you, killing you, and snagging your varied identity tag.
That means that everybody else who joins this game is hunting for your variant ID. If you fall, it's in your bag. That is a permanent record that they killed you. They'll be able to take it back to their player hideout, display it, keep it, treasure it. I know I treasure breads every time I get it, and it's a lot. Oh, I get it a lot. But this is just the beginning of the benefits for the people who hold Founder Passes right now. Every single Founder Pass holder will continue to receive first dibs on every major new addition to DEADROP. And that starts with our new UGC mode that's coming in the future. This is your chance as creators to customize the game to your liking. If you're Hex and you want to make it more competitive, if you want to maybe introduce some CTF gameplay, whatever it is, this is your chance to customize the game, and that is just the beginning. That mode is going to continue to expand, and you guys will have first dibs on it. Now, most importantly, we've heard the community loud and clear that they want in on DEADROP. Our first 10,000 have had the luxury, but now we have heard you.
Enter the tower with the DEADROP Tower Key Pre-Alpha Access, an exclusive, limited availability pass that gives you pre-alpha access to DEADROP Snapshot builds, unique legendary weapon cosmetics, plus the Season 0 Battle Pass, special gameplay events, and much, much more. Don't miss your chance to get on the action and be a part of the biggest AAA game of the decade. Drop in now.
DEADROP Early Access is now available. We're calling it the Tower Key. It is pre-alpha access to the game, available for anybody at midnightsociety.com/towerkey right now for just $25. Now, those in this room are going to be familiar with what this means. That means you get access to Snapshot 5 right now. They could be dropping in, playing with our variants, and every snapshot after this point. It also includes, in your stash, the Deep Freeze collection, our first set of legendary weapon skins. But don't worry, everybody in this room already has it. It's waiting in your stashes at home, all right? You're gonna get a limited edition hideout item to start customizing your hideout in the future, as well as the Season 0 Battle Pass for free.
But wait, there's more.
Quinn, have you heard about this? Quinn. Not only that, but every Tower Key holder, just like our variant, is going to have the ability and the invite to come to events just like this around the country throughout the year, as well as your unique Claw ID in-game. So go right now, get your Tower Key, and drop into Snapshot 5 with our variants. I assume everybody bought the tower key while we were gone. I assume that happened.
One would hope.
We are thrilled to be offering early access to DEADROP, Snapshot 5, and everything beyond to more than just our variants with a $25 tower key. Now, the game, when it ships, is going to be free to play to everybody, right? This audience is going to be massive. Right now, we're talking about that early community who's involved. And it's time to get into the game. We've talked about expanding. It's time to get into the game. This game wouldn't be possible without every member of Midnight Society, especially the dev team, most of which you are here today. See Brighton sitting front row and center. Allison, our game producer, looking great. This ever-expanding team that continues to show up and deliver. Like, look at that. The amount that we have grown in just 12 months, not just our community, but this team.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Super excited and humbling just being on the founder team, to see this dev team come together, what we've been able to execute on. Thank you so much for all your hard work. Now, let's talk about the game itself.
Finally.
Okay?
Let's do it.
All right, so DEADROP takes place in the year 2020B, okay? It's set in a tough, violent world that is seen through the lens as if the 80s and 90s has never ended.
Now that's the world of DEADROP. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of where we're going to be fighting in the cold storage, Sector 3.
So Sector 3, as Rob said, we lovingly call it cold storage. This environment is something that is unlike you've seen before in games. As we said, we're making a vertical extraction shooter. What that means, it's not just you having to worry about things on your left, things on your right, in front of you, behind you. We've dealt with that before. We've played games like that before, right? This is not just 360 degrees. This is a full 720 degrees of carnage. As you traverse through this space, you need to keep in mind not just other players like Rob, right? He's always out there trying to barter and negotiate.
You don't have to worry about me. I'm your friend.
No,
he is not. I just want to hang out.
He is someone you always want to avoid. But you don't always need to worry about him. You need to worry about the environment itself, okay? That is what cold storage is about. Verticality to the max, the Z-axis, the exploitation of that. But don't take it from us. Let's hear more from the dev team themselves about cold storage. Let's hear from Allison, our game producer, Darren, our art director, and Brad, our level designer.
Sector 3 takes everything we learned from hundreds of playtests in Proving Ground and your feedback to amp up the action in Snapshot 5. What you're about to experience is an accumulation of everything that we've learned from the last year and our founder community, including the addition of weapon modification, maintaining a persistent inventory, loot stacking, huge quality of life improvements, and much more.
One of the improvements that we're going to see for Snapshot 5 is what we're calling the Proxy Plus art style. This is the art team's first pass, which introduces an overall aesthetic and theme to our world. Proxy Plus is a sizable step ahead of the pure blockout shapes and colors of Snapshot 4, but it isn't the end of the story for the art team. Once we move beyond Proxy Plus, we'll be moving on to the refinement and polish passes throughout the year.
When it comes to gameplay in cold storage, you've got options. We've created a dense and expansive arena with danger looming in every direction. POIs across the map, from tight corridors to vast open spaces, have been designed in a way to make them feel very different from each other and allow diverse playstyles to shine. Taking inspiration from classic arena-style shooters, we made sure that every nook and cranny offers over, under, and around flow, giving the player opportunities to master our movement mechanics and become an absolute predator. We also took special care to plant hidden routes to reward players for using their creativity and give them the upper hand or make a quick escape.
But a map's design is only as good as the game's mechanics.
Oh. Ah! I'm starting to freeze!
excited to introduce the Rising Freeze. The moment you drop into Sector 3, the clock begins ticking as a wave of frozen death creeps up from the bottom of the map, pushing players upward. If you're looking for a challenge, try racing both the freeze and other players to the very bottom of the map, where a treasure trove of loot is waiting.
Take too long, and the area becomes engulfed in both hostile players and the deadly freeze. As time passes, the Rising Freeze forces you to make a choice. Will you search for a way to make an early extraction, or will you climb upward to beat the freeze and take down other combatants along the way?
One of the biggest new features for Snapshot 5 is sector-specific shutdowns. If players survive until the final moments, they'll be brought to the very top of the shipping hub, where a massive lift will be waiting to bring them to safety, unless they decide to kill each other first. After our very first playtest with the Rising Freeze, everything clicked. Our core gameplay loop felt stickier, deadlier, and more compelling than ever. The Rising Freeze is the very first of many shutdown mechanics that are on the way, and it's ridiculously fun.
No, it's a little further. Just a little further.
Who messed it up? He's out. That's it. It's the last straw.
You gotta blame him. Okay, let's make one thing perfectly clear. Great.
The second thing.
The second thing, all right, besides Alex being fired, the second thing to make perfectly clear here is that the Rising Freeze is no joke, okay? It is something that is going to kill you quickly. It is not something that you can just hide out in. It is relentless. Once it starts, you need to take it into account no matter what. If it's near you, you've got to get away. It is something that cannot be bartered with, okay? It has no feelings. It feels no remorse. If you are caught in the Rising Freeze, you are going to die.
And luckily, you'll have plenty of warnings. The sirens will be going off. You'll see it creeping up the map. You'll see people dying below you. Like, you're gonna get it. And luckily, Sector 3 is stacked with a variety of theatrical extraction points. Now, all of these extraction points are different. Some of them you're gonna wanna communicate, use proximity chat, negotiate, and if you have to, fight your way to each of these unique extraction points. And they're gonna be all over the map, opening at different times. But to dive into them, let's go over to Ryan Thompson to talk about the new extractions in Sector 3.
Just a little further. Just a little further. I made it.
Along with the bone-chilling Rising Freeze shutdown, we're introducing what we like to call theatrical extractions. First is the zipline extraction. It's always in the same location and is accessible as soon as extractions become available. But if you wait too long, the area will be too dangerous to reach due to the Rising Freeze. The zipline extraction is a great option for players who want to get out early. Second, we have the chopper extraction. This extraction point is only available once per run. Attempting to call the chopper will put you in a very vulnerable position. But when your back's against the wall, this might be the only option you have. As far as dramatic exits go, this one is the action hero's way out. Third is the mag lock. These exits are dynamically placed around the map on a per run basis. Activating the gate will definitely attract some unwanted attention, and the wait for the doors to open can feel excruciating. But once you see the light, you're home free. Our final extraction method for Sector 3 is the super lift. Once the Rising Freeze has overwhelmed the rest of the map, the only way out is up. At the top of the sector is a huge platform that can escort any number of players to safety. But once the doors shut, who knows what will happen? Build enough trust with other players and you could all make it out alive together. By providing a variety of unique options for extraction, players can be really strategic throughout a run and make decisions on the fly that suit their goals and style of play. But what if you fail to extract? Here's where things get really interesting.
In DEADROP, rise high or die trying. And if you die, your time for vengeance and retribution will come. In Snapshot 5, you now have the choice to respawn as a Sin. Death isn't the end. Fallen Claws have an option to re-infiltrate the tower with their synthetic counterparts in an effort to reclaim their death bag and drops. Currently, there are no gameplay differences when playing as a Sin. You can loot, extract, and even win the DEADROP.
Players will be able to respawn as a Sin twice before they are fully dead. To keep a balance with other players, Sins spawn in with a single pistol. Players will not be able to respawn as a Sin when the final extraction round begins.
I hope you all are having fun out here as we're having fun backstage. We're having a good time. Okay, so let's talk about what we saw up there, and that is in regards to Sins, what we call Sins, short for synthetic life form. It's something that is just, what you see in Snapshot 5 is just the beginning of what we're doing with Sins, okay? They are right now essentially in Snapshot 5 our respawn mechanic, because we wanted the right pacing, we wanted a lot of action in the experience, we wanted to fix the problems that we had from previous snapshots where someone died and they were just out and it's not something they can come back to. So we're using Sins as our way to get people back in the experience, but be sure that we have big visions for our Sins going forward and what we're going to do with them, how they're going to be represented in the game, the differences they bring to the table, how you play with them, what you want to do with them. Lots more to come on Sins gameplay. This is just the beginning. Just as everything else we've done in DEADROP and throughout our snapshots, just like when you saw in Snapshot 1, our very first weapon, there's going to be more weapons, and Rob's going to talk about all the weapons that you're going to be seeing in Snapshot 5.
Sins just represent the beginning of a feature. They are relevant and deep in the lore of DEADROP and the universe of DEADROP, and right now they're a really great respawn mechanic, but they're going to play such a big role. And just like you've seen our weapons develop over time, in Snapshot 1, we had the first rifle, and then we started introducing some proxy weapons. You got to feel them out, see how they felt, give some feedback on them, and then we continue to polish them every single snapshot. And what I'm excited about in Snapshot 5, you're finally getting to go hands-on with some of our most polished weapons. And not just the looks of them, but the features have been refined based on your feedback over every single snapshot. Introducing new features such as weapon mods, things that augment the gameplay, and all of that. Now, we always want the team to speak for the parts that they're focused on, so we're gonna hand it off to one of our weapons artists who's gonna go deep into the weapons, how they look, and all of that. But I mean, that is what this is all about, is continuing to expand the game, every feature. And what you're gonna see as you play Snapshot 5 is the environment continues to evolve too. Right now, you're gonna see polished weapons. We're gonna dive into that. You're gonna see, oh, how good they look.
Yep.
The skins. In that trailer, you already saw deep freeze, how you'll be able to customize them. And then the sector is going to continue to get that same sort of love. Right now, we are in the Proxy Plus stage.
Yeah.
But the weapons, they're fully polished. Let's throw it to Brandon, and he'll dive deep into our process.
DEADROP takes gunplay to new heights, and we're giving you the weapons to get the job done. In Snapshot 5, we're bringing you the semi-auto pistol, SMG, pump shotgun, DMR, sniper rifle, and AR, all with improvements to make them look and feel unique and satisfying. One big differentiator with DEADROP weapons is the introduction of the mod chip that changes the behavior of your weapon. We've got 12 attachments from scopes, lenses, and lasers to magazines and stocks that will help you customize your weapon, play the way you want, and give you an edge over enemy combatants in the tower. We've also introduced our first gadget, a smoke grenade, for stealthy extraction, speedy getaways, and temporary cover for maximum loot.
Woo!
All right.
Looking good.
Okay. Okay, so hope you've liked a lot of what you've seen here tonight. All right. Now, I just want to get one thing clear. There's something that when you hear about this game, right? You see, gaming outlets, they pick up the game, they talk about it, they say, hey, Dr. Disrespect's new game. Okay? I want to say one thing. It's not just Dr. Disrespect's game. Okay? It's not just Robert Bowling's game. It's not just Quinn DeLoyo's game. It's also Helmet Fire's game, right?
Where you at, boy?
Where are you at?
Look.
Okay. It's also Cozy's game, right? There's Cozy.
Cozy!
Look, it's also Dr. Disrespect's game, okay? It's also Roman's game. I see you, Roman, in the second row, okay? So when you see these outlets pick it up, keep in mind, and you remember, you take pride that this is all of our game, okay? This is DEADROP. All of us are making this game together. We are all a part of this.
Now, it's time to see a little gameplay, little hands-on, a little competition. Pro v pro, Doc v everyone. We're gonna take a little break. We're gonna get the rumble set up, the showdown. We're gonna throw it over to Katie, and she's gonna take us through all of the gameplay of Sector 3. Let's get into it.
incredible. Can we please hear some noise from Midnight Society and DEADROP? I want to give a huge thanks to our event host, Optic Gaming, the Esports Stadium Arlington, and our event sponsor, Cheez-It, for making this event a possibility. To everyone who's in the venue, you saw the gameplay stations. They'll be open to event attendees following the DEADROP Showdown presented by Cheez-It. We'll also, on top of that, have a meet and greet with the Midnight Society dev team, including Dr. Disrespect and that very fancy new chain, and some of the biggest creators in the building. But the moment is finally here. We've been talking about it all day long. Ladies and gentlemen, Variants and Claws, Midnight Society, and Optic, Buckle up, because our main event is about to begin, and it wouldn't be a true showdown without some of the biggest names dropping into Sector 3. On one side of the ring, the 6'8" gaming phenom, Dr. Disrespect, the back-to-back blockbuster video champion and one of the founders of Midnight Society. On the other, some stiff competition. Optic Gaming, Greenwall fans in attendance and online. These names need no introduction. Scump, Pastro, Karma, Dashi, Shotzi, and more. They bleed green, and they brought some insanely talented folks with them, including Dr. Lupo. But the real question, who will extract? Who will survive the rising freeze? The odds are pretty stacked. The DEADROP Showdown, presented by Cheez-It, starts now. Robin Quinn, thank you for joining me, by the way.
Thank you.
You guys did such a good job on stage. I was glad to be able to snag you away to sit down and have a chat while we get to watch.
Terrible Brad play every single day.
Why are you always picking on
Listen,
Brad?
dude,
Because he loves him.
I don't know. We don't have time. We don't have time to get into it. But I am finally going to get to see some of the best DEADROP gameplay of my life. And that's what I'm excited for. I want to see how a real good player plays.
So, you don't think you should be up there?
I should not.
No.
No.
But no, you're right. We really do have some incredible talent here, some of the best in the world. And I heard behind the scenes, apparently Dr. Lupo's frying everybody right now. So, our first DEADROP could be him.
Oh, we'll see. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I saw him sneak in here like 3 hours before everybody, running runs.
He was,
It's,
You're like, if you don't tell anyone you're here early, I won't tell anyone.
yeah,
Get some practice.
he was trying to hide it. He was in a hoodie.
He was doing all right. Yeah, he was talking trash, too. He was doing well. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Well, and I love the Rising Freeze mechanic that you guys have been explaining, because I think it is a unique take on how a function like that can work. And I was actually able to experience it, and it doesn't mess around. The damage over time that it puts out, you guys said it, right? You can't make a play in that like you might be able to in other games.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting to see kind of the way it funnels everyone into each other, especially with the kind of verticality you've created in Sector 3.
Yes, yes. And the crazy thing is that they have to note is the highest spawns and best stuff is at the bottom of the tower. So if you want to get down there, try to find the really good stuff, but you're also exposing yourself to being hit by the Rising Freeze first, right? So what you end up happening is like all the really well-kitted players, the good players, always dock, find them at the top of the tower, waiting for the people fleeing the freeze, right? But like, you'll notice, and they'll pick it up. If they haven't played yet, they'll pick it up fast. And as soon as you hear that siren, as soon as you see
You gotta go.
the frost starting to take over, like, book it, either to an extraction point if one's nearby, but if not, then head up the tower.
Well, and I wonder, because this is also something I was hearing. I was talking with some of the players who will be competing in the showdown today. I think we've got 3 maps worth of gameplay, 24 total folks sitting down for this. And they were talking about proximity chat, right? And look, proximity chat can be great for you. You can maybe make alliances. Hey, there's 3 people left. Maybe 2 people meet up and say, hey, we're going to go get to the lift, take out that final player, and then we'll extract. But I feel like there's going to be some betrayals on the horizon.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we love what proximity chat brings to the table because it's just the emergent type of gameplay that it brings, right? It's just being able to, when you hear someone, like when we play, you could tell who's got like really clicky keyboards. So I hear their keyboards clicking. I'm like, okay, someone's nearby. And then I start calling out, hey, are you friendly? We cool? We cool? You cool? I'll be cool if you're cool. And you do that all the time. And it just comes with these such fun experiences. And that's one of the things that we're just most excited about to see in Snapshot 5. And we know we had it in Snapshot 4, but just this combined with the Rising Freeze, the full gameplay loop for the first time in DEADROP, that's what really makes us all excited about this.
When you talk about that loop, right, and I feel like something like proximity chat, Rob, you were talking about when it comes to the best loot being at the bottom of the map and the verticality of it, it all leads into what kind of play style you have. Are you risk averse? Are you someone who maybe wants to stay on those upper levels? You don't want to have to deal with working your way up. Are you someone who's going to play? You're going to go for broke. You're going to go down, get that best loot, and try and get that dead drop. But when it comes to something like vertical extraction, the question might raise for someone in the crowd, someone online, how do you balance that upper level dominance? Usually we call it, the high ground, right? So how do you manage something like that when you're creating a vertical extraction shooter?
Yeah.
I mean, the way we balance it, honestly, is just there's just little things that we did. Like, we wanted to make sure that it wasn't always the same experience, even though the freeze always happens at the same time and everything. But we wanted players to all spawn near the middle of the sector, not too high, not too low. So then you're really forced to have that decision. Do I want to go up top because maybe I've already got gear that I'm set? I want to get in good position to try to take out people that are coming, or like you said, do I want to go down low and risk it? For me personally, I always like to go down low and try to get, because there's just so much good stuff down there.
So you're risky. You're just going for everything.
Yeah, I'm all about that, and it's just fun. Like, it has this feeling. We almost talk about it like it's the floor is lava when you're a kid and you play. I mean, I got my nephews here in the audience today, so they know all about the floor is lava. But it's just like you play that, and like the freeze is coming up, super dangerous, and you've got to get to certain high ground, almost like a rat trying to escape from a sinking ship. And that is something that's very different just from other games where everything is just super horizontal. And we knew we couldn't go with the horizontal approach to a game that is so vertical in its DNA.
But also balancing it out, this pains me to say, but Brad did a really good job of adding a good diversity of routes up to the top of the tower. So you really have to explore the map, because the obvious routes to get up are choke points, right? They're obviously going to be covered by somebody who's waiting for people to come up. But there are vertical pipes, there are lifts, there are ladders. There's a lot of advanced movement routes to get to the same or similar spots that are less obvious, right? But if you can find them, it's a nice reward, right? You can sneak your way up to the top of the tower, not go through that obvious route that is going to be high combat area. So really look around, and that helps balance it, because you really have to sort of think about, like, okay, I'm up here, but I can't cover every possible route to this top point.
Yeah, so it can encourage creativity. If if you've spent the time, if you've done all the drops into Sector 3, and all those maybe ratty ways to sneak away, Quinn, as you were mentioning. But I gotta know, because you've talked about all these different ways to extract, right? Do you guys have a personal preference, your favorite way so far, whether it's zip lines, and we've talked about the helicopter, of course you got the maglogs, the lift at the end. Is there anything that you prefer, you think is your favorite?
For me personally, it's the maglock gates. They're so much fun because they are not always in the same spot, and we have a lot of them placed in the environment, but not all of them show up every time the match runs. So it creates a little bit of this random element that it's a really fun thing to find, and when you find it, it is this really cool experience. Like, okay, I found one, and there's no nav points. There's nothing on the screen that tells you or other players where they are. You have to find them, and when you do, it's just really cool to have that experience. Do I want to take it right now? And if I do, it's going to create a big alarm, and the siren is going to go around so everyone can hear in the nearby area. It's really loud, and the door doesn't open up right away. It takes around 30 seconds. So you then have this moment where you got to transition to, now I've got to sit and defend my position if I want to extract. But the cool thing is, the other twist that we added to those is that when it opens, it's not like when I go through it now closes. It'll stay open for a little bit. So what's fun about that, again, coming back to proximity chat, you could have a conversation with someone, because someone comes up and like, hey, someone's using a maglock, I want to go get him. And then, hey man, like, I just want to use this thing. Do you want to use it together? Can we
I'm
strike
that
a
person.
deal?
I'm the one who's going to try and make friends with everyone.
Totally right. So you could strike that deal, because like you could both actually use it. It's not a first come, first serve situation. So it's just these little nuanced things that create this emergent gameplay that we love. And that's just the maglock gate alone. The other ones have their own twist that we love.
Well, Rob, Quinn said something at the very beginning of that actually leads into something I'm excited about, I wanted to ask you about specifically, and that was a little something fun. And there's a lot of little somethings that are fun that you have put all throughout Sector 3. Some of those are the magazines and comics that we've heard a lot about. Now, I'm a big lore person. Something that hooks me into a game is going to be that lore. I want to know about DEADROP. I want to know about the world and variants and the claws and everything. So are there any Easter eggs, any information, any lore tidbits you can give us about things like that?
The comics are 100% Easter eggs, right? We call them the Dirk Sappums. They're like penny dreadfuls hidden around the map. The cover of every single one is an Easter egg about an upcoming feature. Now, they all have the Codex Operandum on them. So once you're able to see them in their full glory, you'd be able to sort of pick apart all the Easter eggs. But what I love is like looting in the game, like obviously everybody wants weapons and attachments and armor and the stuff that's going to help them better at the game, help them customize their playstyle. But the collectible items, we really want to drive that forward, right? The comics are really cool because they're going to be a way to expose lore to players, right? And just like every other feature in the game continues to expand, I want the comics to do the same thing, right? Like, yeah, right now you can find them, you can collect them. They're ultra rare, so it feels really good when you get the whole collection, right? And then eventually, who knows where we go with it. Oh, man.
I think we're getting close. I'm hearing some cheers
God, I
from
hope
the
so.
crowd. I think that was, talk about it. Dr. Lugo's up there. We see Z-Laner getting ready for all the excitement. But you said it, right? Something like those comics. Is there a major difference between those comics and something like the magazine?
No, so that's all one unit, right? There's
All
going to be
one thing.
there's going to be a collection of different collectibles. The comics are one of them. Right now, you're getting floppy disks, right? And what we're always talking about as a dev team is how can we give those collectibles utility, something that you can do with them in match, so there's a reason to collect them. Sometimes they're just cool collectibles.
You know there's people in here who don't know what a floppy disk is, right?
Yes.
Does that hurt you a little bit?
They're going to find
I
out.
don't know what it is.
I hope they see one in real life and they're like, oh, it's the thing from DEADROP.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
cool.
There we
Yeah, I've
go.
seen one of those. That thing from DEADROP, yeah.
You can bring it back into fashion
Yeah.
all over again. But no, I do know we are just about to get started very, very shortly. And well, shortly is actually right now. It is time. The DEADROP Showdown presented by Cheez-It is underway. Let's jump right into the action with some of the best in the business. Now, we have 3 maps. Rob, are you expecting a lot of DEADROP victories in particular? Or you think we're going to see a lot of people trying to take different extractions?
I don't think anybody from this crew is trying to extract. At least not right now. I think once they figure out how hard it is to get the DEADROP, you'll start seeing some early extractions, building up their stash, getting out with some weapons. But right now, I think all these guys are killers.
So we have Scump up on the screen right now and already into a few engagements. And the looting has felt a lot more fluid. I know that now it's just a drag and drop. You can put it right onto your gun, any of those attachments. But I think a strong gun as well in his hands to start off with. Do you guys have personal favorites when you're on the map?
I mean, my personal favorite, honestly, I just love the shotguns. I love shotgun gameplay, even though
You're a corner camper, aren't you?
I tend to camp every once in a while. I don't like to admit that I do it a lot, but
Taken out by Dashy.
yeah. So I just love the work that we're doing with shotguns in the game, and we are doing everything we can to make sure that they have a place in a world like this that is super vertical. There we
Take a
go.
look at that. We've got some nice Z-Laner eliminations. Actually, Optic doing well so far. Maybe no surprise there.
Look at
Yeah,
this.
our variants will notice that, like, he didn't have to holster his weapon to go up that ladder earlier.
Yeah.
Fluid movement.
I want to know,
So this.
should we make fun of Bonsai right now for sitting up here?
I think, well, this is what we were talking about, like certain choke points, but this, you could see from this shot alone, just this sheer verticality of this,
Right.
the place of what you had come to expect in the tower. And this is just one sector in the tower. There's going to be different sectors, different level design, but the one common place is that the Z-axis and verticality is going to take major spotlights in the gameplay.
Yeah, the thing is, that crane is in a super effective spot if you have a sniper with an optic on it, right? But if you don't, you're not going to want to be up there. You're not going to do any damage, right? So you really got to tailor the routes that you're taking, the place your post up based on the loadout that you're building on the fly.
So, are you saying then if you're up there, say with an AR, you're throwing a scope on that, just really not going to give you as many
You're going to
dividends as
tickle them.
sniper-specific?
You're going to tickle them, but you're not going to be as effective. And
You're
you
just saying hello.
Yeah, and you got to remember, this is a extraction shooter, right? You're not going for kills. You're going for kills that you can then lose. So if sniping a guy across the map, if you're not able to get over there and clean him out, unless you're planning to just go for the dead drop, like you're leaving with nothing but that sniper that's in your hands.
And you're potentially giving loot to other people that are nearby.
So now that we're into the very beginning of map 1, can you share what is the timeline we're on before you said those alerts, those sirens? And that's what you get. You climb that ladder and sometimes it does not pay off. How much time are they going to have before those sirens go off, that rising freeze?
The rising freeze starts at 2 minutes
2
every
minutes.
match, and that's deterministic. It's always going to be 2 minutes. We're trying to strike that right balance of how much in the game is there a sense of randomness to a degree, and also how much in there is deterministic, things that happen all the time that players kind of account for. And as a dev team, we're always trying to take that into account to make sure that we're not going too far one direction for reasons and too far in the other direction. So that's something that we're working on a lot.
See that? Doc already has somebody's variant ID tag.
Yeah.
Who'd he loot?
I don't know.
He's got somebody.
I love the announcement you did as well about the visor cortexes, right? Being able to show that proof, perhaps if you take down Doc himself in game.
Oh, yeah.
Eventually, whether it's in your hideout or otherwise, being able to show off that you've done that. And I think, are you able to get one, multiple? Can you kind of have a whole collection?
Yeah, so variant ID tags are a collectible just like anything else. So if you kill somebody multiple times, you're constantly can get their
So when
tag
you're picking
out
on
of them.
Brad a whole lot, you're going to have this
I
whole...
have a stack of Brad variant IDs so high.
That is not true.
It is.
But no, to your question, yeah, 100%. If you're able to kill a variant and get their identity tag multiple times, yeah, you could have that multiple times. And here's the thing, right now, people playing the game are all variants. People that are getting the tower key, we're going to now start getting more of those people that are not. And so that's what's going to be really cool as a founder, people that are or variant, they have that visor cortex and they get to stand out. They get to be a bit of a unicorn or a peacock, right? They get to show off. And that is something that is so exciting for us as a dev team to fulfill that promise to our founders that wanted to get in this game with us a year ago. It's our reward to them. And that's something that we just love doing at Midnight Society.
We have Dashy up on the screen, already seen one elimination so far, and some pretty hyper-aggressive gameplay. Hoop now, I think was able to take down, I'm not sure who, but more than enough loot to pick from at this point.
Yeah, and I think it's impressive that Hook is playing on a controller, because the controller is something that we're still working on to make better and better, and a lot of work has gone into that, and I think we just love seeing people to be able to play on both mouse and keyboard and controller.
Nice. It's a good turnaround.
Our animations are looking a lot better since Snapshot 1.
Yeah.
What's that like? I've got to imagine that's something pretty special to see the evolution from Snapshot 1 now here with Snapshot 5, seeing the dead drop showdown, some of the best fight it out as Bonsai, holding such a strong power position, has managed to take out multiple people at this point. No reason to even leave, but to see this now, that's got to be incredible.
Yeah, it's fun because he's up there, he's finding success, but other people now know he's up there. So it's going to be interesting to see how long can he keep it up, because more and more eyes are going to be looking over there.
Yeah, that crane is super vulnerable to that position he's shooting at right now. If another sniper gets up on the top of communication, then he's done for.
He's just watching that ladder. I hope he knows there's another ladder behind him.
It'll be more fun if he doesn't know. A nice shot through the floorboards. We'll see if Hoop may be able to take him, but hey, Doc says that Bonsai's not going to get you. Doc certainly is.
Let's see what happens here between these two.
Another showdown. This position so effective. That healing animation efficient too, really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a new feature of Snapshot 5, being able to find bandages on the fly, heal on the run, not have to go to a lifelink station.
See, that's what I was saying. There's so many eyes attracted to him up there now.
It looks like we have about 17 left, so a decent amount taken down, but I'm looking excited. I can't wait for the Rising Freeze to start funneling people into each other.
So each person, when they die, they'll be able to come back as a Sin twice. Slowly they'll dwindle down.
If you come back as a Sin, you're beelining it to rechow the person who took you out, right?
That's what I do. I want to
You
get.
gotta ego chow that. You gotta go find.
I want to get back to my bag as fast as possible. Kill whoever's trying to loot it. Get my stuff back.
That's one of the longer vertical flanks in the game.
No kidding. But makes it up, thankfully, without too much difficulty.
So
Talk about a wide open area, Quinn.
Yeah, this is up here. This is the highest point in the map. This is where the freeze is going to funnel people to. So if you're up here first, especially in these type of matches where you don't have a lot of loot and everyone's starting very equal, you hope to at least get a couple pickoffs and then have loot brought to you. So now we're just shopping here.
When you're shopping, you're going to have various. So we get into a gunfight. Crypto, unfortunately, not able to find their way out. But there's going to be different levels of armor, right? And helmets.
Yep. There's 3 tiers of armor in the helmets and the body armor. They'll reduce the damage taken to that part of the body.
So you see Scump here, he had to move up right there because he was being pushed from the Rising Freeze.
And that was Bonsai had 3 eliminations, but Hook and Dashy just seem to be a problem on this map right now. 7 eliminations for Dashy. I'd love to see a 1v1 between those two at this point.
It's going to come down to it.
He's got to do a lot of healing.
There's our proximity chat, I believe.
Yep, that's exactly right.
So when you're eliminated, do you have a moment to talk in
Oh,
prox chat? You can?
Yeah, it's fun. I remember a fun interaction between me and Rob. He killed me, and then I was talking to him, and it's just this fun experience of like the bag is talking to you, the death bag is talking to you. So we were just talking for a little bit there, back and forth, like, how'd you do that? And so it's a lot of fun for a dev team, and we hope that carries through, because we don't want to just cut that experience off at death right away. Yeah. We want to have more interactions between players.
There was an early iteration where that respawn timer was super quick. And we realized through playtesting that you lose that opportunity to talk shit to the guy who killed you, to give him some information, or to warn your teammates that you were running around with that somebody just shot you in the back.
Or, hey, you're really good. Can we party up?
Yeah.
Hop in together.
Oh, no!
Oh! Well, Hook, in case you were curious, fall damage doesn't mess around.
Yeah, it is a vertical extraction shooter. So there's things that, again, level design you need to take into account, your placement, where enemies' placement are, all of that.
I know I've seen a few people jumping off things, but there's kind of that moment of know your turn where you go, oh no, you've jumped from too high.
Yes.
This is not going to end well for you.
If he could have called it a zip line, he would have been good.
We have Hitch in an engagement. Is able to get elimination Bonsai. Taking a look at some of this armor. But well, you get caught out looting, and that's what can happen. Woo!
Oh, I got him with the double barrel too.
That shotgun's a beast.
Quinn, how careful do you have to be? Speaking of that shotgun, how pivotal is it that you hit those shots when you're talking about something like reload time or anything else?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the shotgun. There's 4 shotguns in the game. I mean, the double barrel is particularly tricky because you get 2 shots quickly, and then after that, you're going to have to take a long reload penalty, and you got to be really close. So that's the one you see on screen here with Hitch. But yeah,
nice.
So
goodbye, Jared.
We've got 6 weapons that are really far along in the art process, and then all the rest are not so much. But you know, that's the beauty of making a game and sharing it with people while you develop it, is that we aren't holding things back when we put them out there to always look pretty all the time. That's not our goal. Our goal is to literally take what you see, and that's a snapshot. That is a literal snapshot in time of where the game is at.
You can see, I think, some folks already at those very high levels. We only have, I believe, 7 people remaining at this point. So this is going to be where that where the lift drops down, correct? And that's kind of that final moment.
Yeah, the super lift. You'll hear it once it starts up, and it will come down. The walls will lower, and you have that opportunity to get on, form some fragile alliances. Because if you all stay on there, you can all extract together.
I can't imagine there's going to be any alliances here today.
I don't see it.
Hitch
So
tries to
you
make
missed
it
2
happen.
shots right there with the shotgun.
Well, so then I'm curious. So we just saw Rambo get that nice win over Hitch. Is there a limit to that point, that timer where you can't respawn in as a Sin?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you do get 2 respawns, but if you, near the end of the match, the actual respawns turn off because the play space has shrunk so much that we don't want to have anything feel cheap where people feel like the game cheated them, someone spawned right next to them. So again, it's all a balance of where we're at currently in development.
So from a lore standpoint, what you're doing is you're calling in a synthetic version of yourself that you've rented outside to come into the tower and fight for you. And at a certain point, the tower, once the sectors are shutting down, it shuts off those entry points for those Sins.
And here, right now, you hear that alarm. This is the super lift incoming right now. So Dashy's trying to get stuff out of the bag, but he's got to hurry because so the lift just came down. Now the barriers dropped, so you could actually get on the super lift.
And it's 1v1, I believe, at this point. Dashy with 7 eliminations. I believe just one other person. And well, Dashy first one to get there, but may not be the last one to extract.
Yep, he could choose right now. Does he want to actually get on that and escape with the loot, or does he want to, you know, go for the dead drop and win the 1v1?
There we go.
Gets it done.
So
Dashy with the dead drop. And for anyone, and I know a lot of people in the audience might know what that means, but remind us again what we're seeing on screen. Quinn, what is this dead drop? Because it looks like there's a whole lot of loot there.
Yeah, the dead drop is literally what it says right there, right? You deserve the best of the best from those who failed to be the best. And so this is all the best items from people that died and wasn't looted, and then you get to choose one of those to take with you. So it's like your trophy, your reward for winning that match. And you only get it if you're the last person standing. So that's one way to win, you know, quote unquote, win a match. Other people, they feel like a victory to them is going down the giant zipline extraction and getting away with some of their loot. You know, it's all about the risk reward, taking that into account, the tactical decision making, and even the strategy decision making before you go into the match. What do I want to do? What's my goal? What's my agenda? These people, we just feel like, you know, they're all apex predators. They're cold-blooded killers. I think they all just want to try and go for the dead drop.
But so then, when you're looking at something like this, you get that dead drop as we just saw Dashy do. Are you going to have the opportunity to pick up things like those comics you were talking about? Is that going to be something you can select there, or is it mostly weapons?
It will. We prioritize certain stuff, right? So we prioritize kitted weapons first, and then so based on what is the deemed value of something, that will be higher priority for appearing in the dead drop. But yes, you will also be able to get other things. The question is, like, what are you trying to do? Right now, most people are focused on weapons, right? In the future, when we introduce quests and challenges, people might be looking for a specific collectible or a specific item that a certain NPC wants, right? So that's when the strategy will start shifting. Now that he's out, it comes down to the strategy of what do you want to achieve next match, right? He's going to throw a lot of that stuff in his stash. He's going to take some of those attachments, customize his weapon, rebuild his loadout. He needs a backpack. Like right now, he's using default inventory.
Yeah, these are all the decisions that you get to make that we find really exciting, not just in-game, but out of game, right? What do you want to do for the night, going into this match? What do you have at your disposal? How much do you want to risk, right? All of those things, and we just love that feeling of the game.
Well, I assume there's got to be for some people things like that thrifty run, right? Like maybe you want to drop in without your best guns or your best weapons.
Grab a few things, get out of that first
Take
extraction
that zip
point.
line and go.
Exactly.
Classic zero to hero story.
Yeah. That is me most of the time. I want to do short, fast runs, try to get to that zip line as soon as the frost hits it, get out with a few things, build my loadout, go back in, do a fast run, and then once I have a loadout I'm really happy with, then I'll go for the dead drop.
Well, I like that a lot too because I think sometimes games can be a little tough when you don't have an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours of playtime, right? Maybe you only have 30 minutes.
Yeah.
If you're doing kind of a thrifty run like you just described, yeah, you can pop onto your computer, sit down, do a quick run or two, and then call it a night.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I think we can see it's there, smile on his face, but I don't think anyone is surprised to see Dashi coming out on top for the first of our 3 maps. I wonder if we'll get maybe a back-to-back. I have to imagine everything's going to be a dead drop, right? We're going to see every single map, unless maybe a prox chat friendship. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, as long as there's one person left standing, then there'll be a dead drop that happen. But to your point, yeah, both people can go on the super lift for 3, 4. There's no limit to how many people can ride that except for the physical space of that super lift. So we've never actually tested that in our dev play test yet to just cram as many people
The
on that.
max number of people on a super lift.
There's a weight lift someone's got to get on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I can't imagine there's any scenario besides in a testing scenario where everybody will sit on there and not shoot each other.
I think
There's going to be some content clips. I
Yeah.
feel like that's going to happen at some point.
Yeah. I think that's a challenge. We're going to have to do that when we get
Swifter
back.
says, Swifter will do it. He'll
Can we
get
get
everybody.
a Holly and Karma 1v1 here on the final lift? I feel like I want to have that happen.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
I don't know. All I know is from the tweets I've seen online, Holly's going to come out on top.
Oh, yeah?
She's got that gunny. But I know so does everyone else in there, all 24, 25 players who are sitting with us today getting to play Snapshot 5. And once again, to everyone in attendance, you can see them, those gameplay stations in the back. You're going to get to sit down and play Sector 3, try and escape the Rising Freeze yourself once the showdown is done. And I'm excited to try and get my hands on it. I know we're to jump into map 2 right now. But that's a lot of fun because you can watch it. You can watch amazing players. Like we have Dashi here who did get the dead drop in map 1 play. But it's different when you get to experience it yourself, the things that you're watching right now.
Yeah, you'll notice here he's holstered his weapon so he has an increased run speed. You don't need to holster your weapon to do advanced movements anymore. You can still climb ladders, do zip lines, use pipes without holstering your weapon. But there is still advantage to holstering because you get that increased boost to your run speed. You get around the map more fluidly. Feels really good.
How severe are the differences then? You say holstered versus a pistol. What about something like a shotgun to an AR? Are those the varying degrees of those run speeds based on what you're holding?
No, right now it's not based on what you're holding. It's just pretty much between 2 states. That is something that we're not necessarily against. That's an awesome revolver kill. The thing we just wanted to test is just get, again, player the decision making from, do you want to be more about mobility at the expense of offensive capabilities, or do you want to be less mobile with more offensive capabilities? So that's some good proximity chat there, but that is something that we're also excited about as well.
The Gotham Bros have been doing really well in these first 2 maps, but
yeah, one thing that I don't think is obvious to people is, like, if you notice in the backpack inventory space, it's not based on stashes anymore. It's purely weight-based.
Okay.
So, for example, there's no harm in picking up all those variant ID tags because they don't weigh hardly anything, right?
Yeah.
But picking up weapons is going to add significant weight to your backpack.
Yeah, sniper rifle weighs a ton in comparative to, say, a pistol.
And that's also why you want to make sure you're upgrading that backpack any chance you get.
Yeah, it's not just a run, grab everything with no regard for what it is and go.
And also what you pick up first, because I've seen a lot of guys looting right now, and they'll try to grab all the weapons, but they don't have the space, and they're leaving a large backpack in that guy's, right? So if you equip the large backpack first, your inventory will instantly expand, and then you can grab all those other weapons.
Karma getting some nice shots in here to the right. I'm not sure who exactly on, but
Yeah, that DMR is
It fires fast. You think it's fully automatic the way how fast it can fire, but it's a semi-automatic weapon.
maybe shouldn't have chased that down. Did not pay off. But you said you get 2 sin chances, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, something else just to chime in on what we're seeing here is that, again, this game is it's going to be free to play when it fully releases. And that being said, you look at what we see on screen is that this is just early development. This is pre-alpha access. Everything you see visually, the art team went through and put things in there to just facilitate the game design, the level design, the feel of it. We are so early. This is not even close to what we feel is going to be the bar of visual fidelity that we're going for. And again, that's what's exciting for us is just what we've been able to accomplish, how far we've come since Snapshot 1, which was just 8 months ago, to where we are now today, to have the full gameplay loop. And there's just, the team is super excited and chomping at the bit to go all in on the art style, to go all in on more of the gameplay features, to level up the gameplay features. So this is just to remind everyone at home, is like what you're seeing here is not nearly close to what we're trying to achieve from a visual art point.
When you talk about visual art, there was something I saw when you guys were introducing the Tower Key, which was the cosmetics for some of the guns. I believe it's called the Deep Freeze Collection.
Deep Freeze Collection, yep.
So I love anything like that, those unique cosmetics. It's just another way to help yourself stand out in the environment. Scum is able to take down another victim. But for anyone who might just be tuning in now, they're here for the gameplay, they want to see it. Can you guys perhaps remind them on the Tower Key that's been announced today?
Yeah, so up till this point, we've had 10,000 variants have been the only one who have been able to play the game. To get early access to those builds, to have the ability to give feedback on the game. And that was with 400,000 people who applied to be founders.
400,000.
Only 10,000 of them were selected. Most of them are in this room today, right? And what we are doing now is we are opening it up, not to more variants, but to more claws. So they won't have a Visor Cortex, but what they will have is the ability to play the game, get in here, see what we're doing, give feedback on it. Because what you see, especially when Doc streams the game, is you see a lot of people who are not founders commenting, right? They're like, what's this? How do I play this? And now this is the chance to get in there, play the game, be in alongside the variants, and also hunt them down for the variant IDs.
So I think we just saw on screen here with Hitch, there is that chopper extract. The zip lines are available as well. Did someone, that's coming into the platform?
In,
yeah, and it looks like Hitch, I don't know if he wants to head over there, but maybe
he
made a friend. Made a friend.
Yep.
I don't know how long this alliance is going to last, but
well,
it does
not
look
long
like
since only one person can take that chopper.
I don't know if they know that.
Yeah, that's the difference from the maglock gate. The chopper is first come, first serve.
This might be a heartbreak here in a minute.
Oh,
no.
See ya. Oh, no, he got it too.
He got in.
Wait, he got in?
Yeah, nice. See,
there you go.
That's live in development. That's something that, again,
hilarious.
we're trying to get that fixed and figured out, and we're okay with that.
So they were able to cheese it a little
Yeah.
bit.
We are 100% okay with it. This
Once
is where we're
it
at.
leaves that helipad, it's gone.
Yeah.
But the fact that he grabbed the door before it took off, it put him in.
Yeah.
But maybe a tactical approach, right? Because now when we get into map 3, you have all that loot. You might be in a little better position if you didn't think you could get to that dead drop here.
Right.
Yes.
And we love, like some developers, they might see some of the stuff and they'll cringe. But us is like, yeah, you know what? By design, we didn't want that to happen. Well, players like dinosaurs in Jurassic Park, they find a way. And they just right there found a way to get 2 people on a chopper. And now that opens the discourse between us and the players on what do they think about that? Do they like that? Is that something we integrate? Is that something they don't like and they want us to be more true to the design? This is all the what comes with the territory of open development, and we are all for it.
Rob, would you say are there any guns that you find the hardest to get used to, kind of the most difficult to master in the game so far? I mean, easy answer might be the sniper, I'm not sure, but something that might show to other people that skill threshold you have to be hitting those shots.
Yeah, I mean, we talk a lot about the DMR internally. He has one now. It's a super powerful weapon. If you
Doc
know
said
how
my
to
DMR now, thank you.
And he's deadly with it. But that one to me has like that big skill gap. It's super effective with the right attachments. If you've modded it and you use it effectively, you put that same DMR in my hands, I'm not pulling the same numbers.
Bonsai again. Seems to be kind of the area that we've seen them in consistently, maybe a comfort zone, especially when you're not as familiar with a map.
He's showing off that deep freeze collection too.
Yeah, and he's got that massive optic on the rifle. And for us, we're like, you know what? We're letting people experiment and put all the attachments on. And again, we're all for that. We're okay with it. And then we're going to see what players think. Is that lame? Is that too much of an advantage? You could even put big giant optics on the revolver, big hand cannon type of gun. It might look ridiculous to some, but again, we're trying it out.
Well, and how often have you seen from the variants, maybe from what you're going to see out of Bobby Poff and others today, these players utilizing combinations in the game or gameplay styles that you weren't necessarily expecting, but you're just watching these players evolve it in real time?
I don't know. What do you think about that, Rob?
Well, I mean, that is why I've been excited to watch people outside the dev team play, right? Because we play a certain way. Either it's our personal play style, or we're playing because, like, oh, we know we just added a feature and we're trying to see what that feels like. But watching people play competitively, trying to win, trying to get a lot of kills, it exposes a lot of different design tweaks and things that maybe we didn't expect to see.
Well, it looks like Doc able to take out American Dad and holding this power position here by the final extraction point, but a ton of time. I mean, close to 5 minutes left.
He's sitting at 7 HP, so that's not exactly good.
Yeah.
Not ideal, to be sure, especially if you don't have bandages, hoping to maybe loot them from someone instead.
Yeah, there's no lifelinks up at the top of the tower, so he's going to have to make his way down if he wants to heal. Knowing him, he never chooses to. He's going to try to fight this.
This is going to be the last stand. If there's not bandages here, then it's 7 HP till the end.
No bandages in that one. Oh, it goes for that sniper rifle, though. So Nupo's over here at top of on the control center.
And there was one of those heal stations.
Yes.
Yep,
that you
yeah.
just
a
mentioned
lifelink,
to the left.
God damn it, Krim!
There we go. See, that's the beauty of proximity check.
Just getting the fucking...
Landing some shots.
Nice shots.
Oh.
But unfortunately, in a pinch situation, someone behind him as well. Dr. Lupo potentially in a bit of trouble.
Throws out a smoke grenade.
So you can roll it or you can ADS and throw it. So he obviously just deployed it, which just rolls it at your feet. But if he would have ADS, he would have got a much further arc on it.
Oh, looks like you got him. Oh, yeah, there's some comics, too.
Yeah, quite a few.
Good ones. That's the newest comic, number 16.
Taking some variant identity tags.
Get some of those much needed bandages as well.
Yeah, those are some of the most important items in the game, being able to heal on the fly. So we found in our playtest that the bandages are one of the just most crucial items that like you want to always grab. And since they don't weigh a lot, you want to just grab them.
What is the heal amount for those?
20, I believe. 20 HP. But it heals pretty quick. It's not a crazy
Very
long,
quick animation.
Yeah, it's not a long, like, you know, sometimes we call it like, hey, you got to do your chores. In some of these games, you got to heal. It's a pretty quick.
Crown flying at Bobby Poff, able to take some of that loot as we swing over to Fab TV. 10 players, 7 eliminations for Z-Laner so far. I wonder if Doc is doing all right, considering this was kind of the same place he was in. Didn't have any bandages.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people here. You could see from Z-Laner's screen he's playing as a Sin because there's a little bit of a red scan line effect on the screen. It's subtle. We're something we're toying with. Again, we're doing just early iterations on the Sin gameplay and what that means, and we're just trying to make it so that it does stand out a bit. When you're playing as a player, we want you to feel like you're now changing and you're playing as something else. It's not just your same old player. So that's why some of the stuff we're seeing there with the visuals, the scan lines, all that kind of stuff.
So if you dead drop as a Sin, say you're able to make it all the way to the end, are you getting all of your loot back by default by dead dropping, or do you still you had to find the bag, you had to loot it back?
Find your bag, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, he's in the freeze.
Oh, and that hurts. Look at the way that ticks. It does
Rest-
not mess around,
rest in
and
pieces.
you will be waiting for map 3. That's tough. I mean, I experienced that too. I tested it out. I was curious to see how much does the Rising Freeze actually hurt.
Yeah.
You do not have very many play opportunities there.
And you can see it down below, taking up the map.
Creeping its
level
way
by
upward.
level.
Love shot. Oh, the turnaround.
Oh, Bobby Poff.
Yeah, I love those shots when you're up high and you look down and you see the freeze just taking over the entire map. It's something that we're really trying to set out, and we're definitely not done. But one of the main goals is that not only that it will mess you up and be damaging, but visually we want it to be menacing. We want it to look scary so the players don't think it's something that they don't need to worry about. We want it to look menacing.
Z-Laner.
So that guy flanked around, but if you notice on the edge there was a railing he could have jumped out and grabbed.
Yeah.
And shimmied his way around there.
But those railings maybe not as obvious necessarily
No.
for some of these players. Maybe something you find and you go, oh,
Yeah.
now I know this. Now I have that moment, that leg up. But Z-Laner, now more eliminations than there are players remaining on the map with 3 seconds to the final phase. Has shots onto someone up top. That'll be Crypto Stash. We'll be able to get, has a nice little, I was going to say, how's this going to play out? Did have a nice little position, but if American Dad's going to swing around the corner, there's not a lot you can do about that third-party play as we have a minute 45 here in map 2. Maybe a quick looting opportunity. Z-Laner still in a good position, but barely any health at just 6. And by the lack of healing that we're seeing, maybe not any bandages. And this is going to be tough. You spot one, doesn't actually go in.
There's a cover.
For the trade. Play a little ring around the rosy, figure out exactly where this person is, and won't fight for your life if Z can get out of this. That is going to be extremely impressive. And American Dad, 6 HP for Z-Laner. Doesn't need any more than that. Thank you very much. We'll head to that extraction with 3 remaining and almost double-digit eliminations.
Super Lift is only going to be there for another minute, so
Put on that helmet.
that's going to be an eternity, that minute.
This makes me nervous when they take this long to loot.
If you click and hold on helmets and armor, it'll auto-equip to your armor slot.
So this is the final 1v1 situation right here.
The 1v1. Travis with some initial shots, not able to connect.
75 HP versus 6 last we saw.
35 seconds on the clock. Getting some good shots, but not able to get it done in Z-Laner. It doesn't matter. 6 HP, full HP. He'll take you down anyway. Double-digit eliminations and the dead drop to call it done. Z-Laner, stand up. You earned that win. Wow. I'm not going to hit those shots.
I love looking around and seeing the smiles on these players' faces. This is something, again, we got a long way to go, but just feels so good as a dev team watching this and seeing people smile at something that you helped make.
But I think that's, I mean, I can't even imagine when I've had the opportunity to play. I've had very few of these, really only one moment, but it was a great moment where I got a kill in an earlier snapshot onto someone. And yeah, I mean, I can't imagine what that feels like to see these players, watch them getting those hype moments, being able to make that come to life in your game, especially now that you talk about the artwork, the visuals, the design, having that Rising Freeze function here. I mean, it just makes you say, well, what's next? I want the next one. You know, I want to see what they can do when they have that next snapshot and the one after that.
It's the double extraction.
Now they know. Now they know.
That's the excitement we like to hear. Yes, I got out. Because when you come into Sector 3, more than likely you're going to die. You're not going to make it out. So that's the feeling we want. The feeling of, do you want to go for the dead drop because you feel like you're on and you can do it? Or is your goal just to get out with your life and with the stuff that you have so that the next match you could bring in more? That's exactly the feeling we're trying to go for with players.
Well, I imagine there's certain maps as well where maybe you're just looting, you're maybe trying to go for those final extractions, and then suddenly you get a comet, maybe something really rare, and it just changes the entire atmosphere of that map for you. Suddenly it's,
100%.
where's the zip line? How can I get out right now?
Yes, the moment you find that thing you've been looking for, all you're thinking about is getting out.
Well, it looks like, I think, one more map on the horizon, and no double wins just yet.
Yeah, so
Z-Laner
it's
able to
Dashy
take
and then
that too.
Z-Laner, right?
Dashy and Z-Laner could very well be all Optic. We need Doc to get that final. We need to see something. That could be so tough, though. I mean, we saw Z-Laner was in that similar position, same spot, but just so little health.
Yeah. So this match right here, also keep in mind as players and people watching this, is this the amount of players in this match is below what you're going to be playing at home. It's like, because this is only like 10 players, so the pace is going to be a little bit slower, a little bit more sneakier, trying to find people. That being said, we've still seen really good gunfights. It's going to be much more of a frenetic pace when you're playing at home because we've doubled the amount of players from Snapshot 4 to Snapshot 5, so we're at 36 players per server when you play.
Here's some of that. Props chat.
What are you looking for right now? What's your go-to up in there?
Yeah, see, people are already communicating and working together. This is great.
Trading some information.
It's exactly what we want to see.
Let me see. I don't really have one yet. I've got like the starter one. That's all I have.
Well, it's interesting too. Some people are just going to pick up those play styles or those tactics or those areas like we saw out of Bonsai Bros earlier on that you can then relay later on. Like, this is where I've been. This is how it's been working out for me. And
yeah, see, and Travis just dropped a weapon right there for his buddy that he just formed an alliance with in the match itself. These emergent alliances.
there's a lot of trust happening here, though.
Oh, yeah. So this is near the bottom of the map right here.
Said some of the best loot scum in an altercation with someone a little bit of a level above him. Connects with some opening shots, but this player flying at him, not afraid to get the challenge, but doing a decent chunk of damage so far. And well, that was Shotzi. I'm sorry. We'll see
That
you
makes
later.
sense now that we see a Shotzi because his play style, how he's just always zooming, flying around.
Not afraid to make the challenge, that's for sure. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Sector 3, the Rising Freeze, and I imagine you can't necessarily tell me anything, but this is specific to this sector.
Yes. Every sector will have its own themed shutdown, right? So as a sector shuts down, extraction points open, and then something is going to be forcing players out, right? For cold storage, it's the temperature regulators have gone offline, that freeze starts to take over, and it forces players out. For the next sector above it or below it, it's going to be completely different.
Yeah. Again, that's another challenge. You know, it's easy to just say, hey, this is how all the sectors shut down, is players have to go up to the top. But again, the team that we assembled, we don't shy away from challenges, and we feel like even though it's more difficult, look at this alliance, how many players there are now. This is insane.
We're at what, 3 now?
Yeah, this is great. But yeah, the team, we don't shy away from what's difficult, and we feel like it benefits the player and the longevity of the game if every play space has unique things about it, so that players can like certain sectors differently, appreciate different things, take into account when you go into a match, what you have to deal with. Each sector is its own character unto itself.
Are we at 4 now? How many
Is
people
this
are
multiple teams or is this all the same one?
And this is just game number 3. The first game we saw no one's really teaming.
No.
The second game we saw a pair that was teaming. And now you see the more they've played, it's like, okay, well, how do we want to game the system? What do we want to do? This is 100% okay. It's a part of the game.
This is DEADROP.
This is DEADROP.
Sometimes friend drop, depending on how it ends.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, we've had fun experiences on the team where someone joins up with their buddy. I was told the story last night on the dev team, and since you can die and respawn, the person said like, okay, cool, yes, team up, awesome, great. Hey, how many lives do you have left? Oh, I think I have 1 left. And then that person shot him in the back of the head.
Oh,
Because
no.
he knew he had a respawn left, and then he took all his loot.
That was a trust fall that did not work out.
Exactly. So it's just things like that. It's like, man, that's pretty dirty right there.
Well, I imagine there could even be iterations of that. Say you do come back as a Sin and maybe you offer a barter with someone. Hey, I have something you might want. If you give me back my stuff, I can give you this. We'll drop into another game, something that I can hand to you if you help me out now.
Yeah, I think especially once we get into quests and challenges and people are looking for specific items, that type of gameplay really comes into play.
Yeah.
think we're going to jump back as a. Let's just running in place, just hanging out for a second here.
This is game development, live game
In
development.
map 3, but no, so we've seen it. I think you guys were talking about it, again, those iterations of the gameplay. This is a free-for-all. Yes, you see people teaming up, but that's by choice, right?
Yes.
As I want to know as well, is it always going to be that free-for-all? Are you going to be able to load in with other people? Is that a question I'm not allowed to ask right now?
You could ask me. I probably would be more conservative, so you should probably ask Rob.
Right. It is something that we definitely are looking at additional modes, right? Right now what we're looking at is our core dead drop mode, which is a solo experience. As you see, you can dynamically team up with people, but we're definitely looking at in the future, what does squads look like, how is the systems that support that, but it's not something that's in the game right now.
You're telling me it's not all at once? We can't get everything right now?
Unfortunately. I wish. I'm pushing for it.
We will be patient, as we will be, as I think we're looking to get back into map 3. Maybe some of those alliances will survive through as we prepare to jump back in. But I'm not surprised to see the Bonsai Bros. They're getting everyone together. They found their spot. They're like, hey, teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we all extract together. But something that's fun to me is considering all the different ways content can come out of interactions like that, right?
Yes.
Whether it's because you're a variant, whether it's someone, maybe you got that tower key, you're jumping in now. I want to see the video when someone manages to get the entirety of the lobby to wait up there and all extract together.
Yes, I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see what happens. The most fun games for me are when people are talking and communicating, even if they're not teaming together, just having that interaction. Because sometimes you'll have those moments where it's like you both mutually decide, not right now. I'll see you at the top of the tower. We both just started looting.
Like,
let's.
hey, you, see,
Yeah.
you go that way, I'll go this way.
And then you see that person again once you get to the top.
So I want to go back to something you were talking about before, which is the Sins. We know they have the 2 lives. You're going to see a little bit of the effects on their screen personally. But when you're someone else going up against a Sin, maybe the Z-Laner when he won the second map, what are some of the visual indicators you as another player are going to have that they are a Sin and not their actual character?
Yeah, currently there is a visual difference.
Yep.
It's going to get much more drastic in future snapshots.
Yeah, to be clear, the current iteration of that is a Sin has just different clothing, and then they have a shorn, a bald head, so totally no hair at all, and then their eyes are glowing red. So, yeah, so we wanted to kind of, again, just experiment with that. We want them to look a little off-putting, I should say, a little off-putting, but also a little bit scary. That's where the red eyes come in. We want the red eyes to stick out a little bit in dark places. So those are the things that you could identify a Sin when you see one go.
But just like you can customize your gameplay and eventually your appearance for your main character, we also want that to transcend over into Sins in the future as well.
Oh, really?
Another element for you to customize, personalize, and really make your own.
So you're getting things, you said, your character, the Sin, your hideout, you can really make it your own, whatever you end up doing with collecting the visor cortexes, the variant IDs, the car.
That's something we tried to tease earlier of this is just the beginning of Sins and their manifestation in the game. We have a big vision for what they are and the direction we want to take them that, to be honest, it really, really excites us. But we also want to hear from the players as well. So this, again, let's introduce them, let's not hold back, and then try to drop this whole crazy big feature set of them, and then see if players kind of don't like it. Let's get it out there a little bit, see how players feel about it, take their feedback, and then in a way, that is the beauty of it, because it helps us understand how much more resources do we want to put into, in this instance, we're talking about Sins. But you could look at that as feature X, feature Y. Instead of us going dark, working on something for 2 years, dropping it, and players don't like it, let's show the players now. As soon as we can get something out, let's put it out, and then we get active feedback right away. And then it helps us understand what is the best direction to take feature X, Y, or Z.
Well, and something I loved, you talk about that feedback, right? You guys were standing on stage and you were calling people out in the crowd, members of the community that engage with DEADROP, that you know because they are there and providing that feedback. Say you're someone who's purchased a tower key today. What are the methods in which you can provide that feedback, the avenues for them to be able to communicate with you guys?
Yeah, hit Discord, hit Discord, join the community, get involved in the discussions. Every Friday, we're doing Friday night dead drops. We're playing with the community. We're listening to them in voice chat. You can talk about features in the Discord. In future snapshots, we're also building that functionality into the game so that you can report stuff, submit feedback. So there's going to be more and more integrated ways.
That body is.
I love that.
No, someone's.
It's extracting
It was hard
out.
to listen to Rob say that because that was hilarious. But
Like, please take me
yeah.
off screen.
So funny. Yeah, we're all for it, showing what we got. It's a snapshot in time where we're at in development. And I also love seeing, we had a clip a minute ago of a team that's up on that crane. There's about 3 of them working together. I think that's actually the team that Scump is shooting at right now. I think there's a couple of people behind that structure.
And Bobby Poff, how many times now have we seen you get too hyper-focused perhaps on one engagement, you're in an open area like that, you're exposed, someone comes around on a flank or hits you from behind Bobby Poff there, and unfortunately just not enough time to be able to take on that gunfight. Back to Shotzi. 2 eliminations, but still a very healthy lobby so far.
You said that, you see that red siren light that he ran by. That's
Yes.
how you know that the freeze is about to hit that area. So they'll start off a certain color, and then once they switch over and start moving, then you know that the freeze is coming.
So not only will you have the audio indicators,
Yeah.
you'll have those visual indicators as well, aside from the freeze itself. Right?
Yes, there's a lot of subtle and then very overt things to let you know when you're in danger.
And we're really trying to strike that balance, Katie, of things that are in the world communicating to the player, because we're trying to make it feel immersive instead of just putting a bunch of things on the screen or the heads-up display, like with the timer and all these kind of things. So we're doing a little bit of that, but that's where those lights and those sirens, those are in the environment themselves. And that's where we just want to create that level of immersion that you are actually in this space. You're in Sector 3, you're in the tower, the freeze is coming,
Oh, Doc.
and you have to deal with that. So that's where we're at.
That was a nice shot, Fab, right around the corner, Doc. Unfortunately, on the receiving end, American Dad taking down Curtis. A nice little GG there.
Yeah, see, okay, this is that same crew.
What?
They're
Okay,
still
they're
up
back
on
together.
the crane, yeah.
All of us together.
Crane team, yep. They call themselves crane team.
They're up to something.
Or we're gonna remember the solo extract or the group extract, alright?
Love it.
No,
I'm nervous of the lack of people focusing on that ladder. But you said there's multiple ladders at this point?
There's 2 ladders up
Two
to that
ladders
point.
up to that point.
Yeah, they're up front.
Wait. I think it's Sean. Is that Sean? It's Sean. Let's go. Let's go. Sean's on the way out. You're so close, Sean. You can make it. You can make it. Get up here, brother. Right across away from us.
Look at that team fire.
Not easy shots to hit, though, at that point.
No, yeah, every weapon is projectile based. So that means everything has a travel time, deal with gravity, all that stuff. So you have to lead your shots. Nothing is, what we call in the game industry of hit scan. Weapons aren't just like instantly go to where you point.
Yeah, so it'll take you a learning curve.
That's
Those
right.
individual weapons, scopes, attachments,
Yep.
etc., to be able to anticipate correctly where that bullet's going.
Attachments, mods, they're going to impact those drop-offs and those field velocities.
Yeah, I mean, there's a really high value item in the loot pool. It's our weapon mod chip, and we had it in earlier snapshots, but this one, again, it's just really rare. But if you get it, you attach to your weapon. I mean, it really makes your weapon lethal. It ups the damage, ups the rate of fire, the cost of accuracy. And so that is something that we are really looking forward to seeing players find that, because when you find it, it's like a big deal treasure item because we made it really rare.
Yeah, that's a extract ASAP
Yeah.
sort of an item. And imagine too, you figure out your play style, what you like, and you're going to extract, I would assume, with multiple of the same equipped gun with whatever attachment, so that if something goes wrong, you have someone you have one in your stash already that you can re-up, right? Can you have multiple of the exact same build if you're extracting with them?
Yeah. Whatever you have in your backpack, you can extract with. It's always good to have backups of both the individual parts, because once you get back there, you can take it into the armory, disassemble it, store away the mod chips.
Oh, so you can't take everything apart after?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go into the armory, disassemble it, put on new attachments. So there is no disadvantage to throwing that weapon mod on in-game and then extracting it with the weapon, because you can just peel it back off.
And unfortunately, the ladder, we've seen a few of those kills as well. You have to be aware of your surroundings before you put yourself in a vulnerable state.
You do. Yeah. Yeah, and that's, again, all by design. We want lots of choices and options as you move, both horizontally, but especially vertically, but everything's got to be taken into account, weight and the cost. And that's kind of what we were talking about earlier, just the level design, being a character itself, the movement is there, but it's all environmentally based and not things like grapple hooks, jetpacks, letting players just like go from point A to point B because they hit a button. They have to physically go to a place, plan out their route, and then take into account the risks of that route.
Dude!
That was scary. I like, dude. Come on, man.
Did I lose?
See, upgrade that helmet. There you go, nice.
I think when you turn it, you talk about things like content as well. You're going to get, and maybe it's going to be some of the people in this room who are playing in the DEADROP Showdown right now, those best route videos, right?
Yeah.
Depending on the extraction type you want to do, maybe what sector you're in, the most effective ways to get what you want and get out.
Yes.
It just seems like it lends itself to 1,000 different ways for different creators with different styles to make content around it.
Yes. Especially with like how much diversity of how you can get places are, right? You can climb, you can shimmy across ledges, you can use pipes. We're not seeing a lot of that in this, right? People are taking the obvious routes, but once this community gets their hands on it and they start figuring out all those nooks and crannies, then a lot of those videos are going to start hitting.
Yep. And that's by design. We wanted to make sure that there's a lot of, kind of secret routes.
The designer wants you to know that that was by design. That was not an accident.
Yes.
Very intentional.
He deliberately did it.
Yes.
I just want to point out that was a very smart decision that was made by me.
You shut up.
Shotzi looked like maybe only that one bandage to get him up to a little over half health. Does have someone right here going for the shots, but well, it's Iceman Isaac now with multiple eliminations. Shotzi perhaps coming back as a sin we'll have to see, but Ames now no eliminations yet, but still plenty of people left. 17 so far as we push toward that final phase. A little less than 4 minutes to go.
This looks like the crane team is still here.
They're hanging out. Commenting.
They're going to try to fight their way to that super lift.
What is going to be cool too, I assume, as that rising freeze is coming up, this is a great position to be able to see that creeping up through the entire sector.
Okay, 3.5 minutes, and then it'll be final extract time.
Do we have to wait for the,
Ooh. Little zigzag.
Some nice movement from Shotzi, but unfortunately not enough. Dashi with a great high round position. 5 eliminations now, 16 remaining. And when you're seeing those drop-offs, that's your character, your 2 sins. You're done and out?
Yeah.
Or you extracted?
Yes. Yeah. If they extract out, they can't come back in, or they. Oh no!
Oh
the
no!
great team!
No! Stone Mountain! No! The best of friends ripped apart. Dashi. Merciless in the destruction on top of that crane. They weren't harming anybody. They were just hanging out.
See, we love these fights across just a giant chasm that is traversable. See, it's one of those choke points if you could hold that sky bridge right there.
Shotzi, Karma, Stone Mountain, everyone seeming to fall around Dashi now. 2 away from double-digit elimination. Looking to get the 9th, not able to connect with the shots, but turns around, spots one behind him. Unrational, we'll see you later. Make it 9. Might be the best decision to leave Dashi alone.
Look at all the bags up there.
Oh, 1 HP.
1 HP. Natali didn't listen to my advice, didn't need to.
Oh,
Freeze is coming up right
yeah,
here.
the screen's starting to frost over.
I really like that. That maybe not necessarily damaged just yet, but another one of those indicators, and I believe a sin as well, based on what we're seeing around the sides of the screen. Another visual indicator of, hey, you might want to start moving.
Yeah. That frost will get more and more intense, start obstructing more of your view before it starts killing you.
So as people are exploring these maps and Maniac maybe needing to reposition, how many little Easter egg, maybe don't tell me too much, but are you gonna be incentivized to look around, maybe find some Easter eggs spread around these maps?
There's a few.
Yeah.
A few to find?
I mean, that is something that we're going to be, I mean, the Easter eggs outside of the comics, which again is another rare chase item, is just the areas that you could traverse. And these players here, you haven't seen anyone be using any of the vertical pipes.
Might not even know they can yet.
That's right. And that's something that we wanted to not hit the player over the head, because we want players to feel smart. We want players to have that discoverability. We want players to get hyped and excited about different ways to move around the map. And again, that tells us more information, how we want to design our sectors going forward. But that is something that is important to us, is environmental design, environmental-based movement.
It's always fun when you have that moment, you discover something, and you're like, oh, hey, come over, check out, you can do this, you know? And then next time it kind of makes it an entirely new experience when you drop in, even though, yes, the map has stayed the same, but as you said, right, you've discovered this new way to traverse that map. Gives it that bit of refreshed fun.
Yeah. The artists have put in a few visual Easter eggs.
Yeah.
One I love and one Doc hates.
Yes, that is true.
So let's see what we had. Dashy map 1, Z-Laner map 2,
he died to
deep
the
freeze.
freeze.
Gotta get away. Fab said, no, I'll just let you have that deep freeze. I'm gonna get away now, the rising
You
freeze.
can't clamber that.
Oh, no!
Rest
Oh,
in
Fab,
pieces.
we will see you later. Look at how fast that health disappears. That ladder is not gonna help you now. One wrong step, and it was a
The beauty
disaster.
of verticality.
8 players with 1:30. You can see that lift is coming down, waiting for those barricades to drop, which they will do right now.
Oh, team. They're teaming. Okay.
Maybe a wholesome ending, maybe not a dead drop.
It's looking good. Oh, this is a new feature in Snapshot 5, being able to drop stuff out of your backpack.
Yeah.
Stock?
Subtle feature.
He's got, I don't know what so his armor is pretty good. He's got medium armor across the board. He's got 80 HP.
Has the bandages available, at least 2 of them.
Picked up a sniper rifle. Doesn't have ammo for it, but probably has 2 shots. Okay, there we go. 2 shots for the 2 time.
4 eliminations, 4 players.
So we know we have 2 people colluding and teaming up by the super lift. He's going to come up here, and this will be interesting.
90.
That's heavy armor right there.
Yeah, he has heavy armor on.
Otherwise, I assume could have been a kill shot.
Yeah, I think he would have been dead.
Maybe perhaps a bit frustrating there for Doc, assuming he'll take one out, not able
Doesn't
to
have
connect.
any ammo.
Goes
You're out of
for
ammo.
Another.
He's out of ammo. He's making plays.
One of the easier eliminations.
There we go.
What a way to end it. What better than Doc himself with the death drop. Dashy map 1, Z-Laner map 2, Doc map 3. A nice shot in the back, letting those other players whittle each other down, and the extraction all on his own. So, congratulations. This was some amazing gameplay.
Yeah, that was an incredible ending.
Did you have a favorite winning? Dashy, Z-Laner. Z-Laner had a lot of eliminations. Did he have double digits or was that Dashy?
First one was really good.
Just like watching Z-Laner play in general. Just fast moving, quick decision making. Feels good.
I think that's one of the, not only do they have incredible gun skill, gameplay, intuition, game sense, but watching players who are at that caliber sit down with a game and learn it at such a rapid pace.
Yes, yeah. That's been incredible just to watch today. So many pros sitting down, playing it for the very first time, and starting to pick up and slowly improve each match.
Just laughing, having a good time.
You can see Scum
With some of these.
having a lot of fun. I think, yeah, that was that one shot
highlights.
around the corner. That might be, honestly, my favorite feature there with the prox chat, that you do get that time for a while after you're eliminated by someone to talk with them.
Crane team.
Dashing when he was wreaking havoc on the top. Crane able to take out, I believe it was Stone Mountain at that point, caused everyone else to scatter.
Panic.
Rest in peace is right here.
And you know, that is that panic. You see that ladder, and I think you knew, even attempting to get on it,
Yeah.
you can't go anywhere. And I assume even if you could bandage, at that point, if you're that low down, are you getting out of there?
The freeze will outpace your bandage.
Well, congratulations once again. 3 maps, 3 dead drops. And those dead drops, those only happen when there's that final player remaining. Dashy Z-Laner and Mr. Two-Time himself getting it done. But that is it for our dead drop showdown presented by Cheez-It. And what a showdown it was. 3 incredible maps. And let's make some noise for our winners. And I think the attendees, they know what that means. That means that they get to go to the back now. They get to sit down and experience Snapshot 5 for themselves. If you loved what you just saw, well, here's another little treat for you. Here's a chance to be a part of Dead Drop. Take a look at how that can happen.
Baby, since the beginning of time, the primal scream has been the essence of human competitiveness. In film, in television, and video games. At the end of a last-minute kill, a clutch win, a series-defining capture, it starts as a rumbling in our gut and we cannot contain it. It is now time to capture your primal scream for your chance to get your primal scream into Dead Drop. Along with that, the winner is getting 5 tower keys to get pre-alpha access to Dead Drop in the early snapshots. So record your best primal scream, upload it to Twitter, tag us at 12 a.m. with the hashtag primal scream, and we will see you in the existence.
That's it for the live stream and the reveal of Snapshot 5 in the cold storage sector. This is what it's all about, sharing this moment with you guys, sharing it with our players, sharing it with our future pros, all of us together step by step. I cannot express what this means to me, the Midnight Society team sitting here, to be on this journey together. Introducing our first sector in the tower, our first sector shutdown feature with the deep freeze, our first legendary weapons pack, and our first time welcoming players who are not variants. This is a huge snapshot for us, and we're still only getting started. To everybody at home, pick up a tower key, join us. For the rest of us here, we're still hanging out. Let's get some games in, let's grab some drinks, and let's hang out and talk about Dead Drop. Good night.